All right, welcome to my YouTube channel. For those of you guys who are new, welcome. If you're returning, I appreciate you. I'm actually really impressed. You know, I've gained like 60, 70 subscribers over the last month or so. I do enjoy making the videos, right? I started making them on Instagram and social media, and it just took me a while to actually do it on YouTube just because the editing takes a lot longer than, you know, let's say a 90-second reel. But I want to share with you guys my most prized possession, and that is my electric scooter. I wouldn't say it's my most prized possession, but it definitely was a game changer when I bought it. So last year, I moved downtown and figured I wouldn't really need my car to get around because I'm going to like local coffee shops, grocery stores, and they're all within walking distance. But sometimes a scooter is just that much more convenient, and it absolutely is. And I invested in like a little bit more of a heavy duty one. So this one is the Varla Eagle One. It's from like a company in the States. It cost me around $2,000 because of the conversion rate from US to Canadian. It's around $1,500 if you're in the US, but honestly, it is like the best thing I could have ever gotten. I've rented scooters before, and this one is just like top notch. It's a little bit more off-road. You know, I can like go over potholes and like big cracks in the sidewalk and not be concerned about breaking it. And it goes up to 70 kilometers an hour. And according to their website, it can go up to 100 kilometers an hour if you change the settings. But this is an absolute beast of a scooter, and I'm so glad that I'm able to ride it now, that the weather is nice and the ground is relevantly dry. The basis of today's video, though, is my leg day. If you've been watching my videos, I've been training for a half marathon. Trying to do a strength training workout on my legs has been kind of okay for the most part, but now that I'm running longer distances and training a little bit more frequently with running and, you know, just putting more emphasis on my running, you know, I can't really be dealing with leg soreness. So I want to show you guys my leg day and then just kind of talk about some of the key points that you should remember when strength training while also trying to break PRs with your running. When you go in to do like a half marathon or you go in to do a regular marathon, you know, I think if you've never done one, it's good to set a goal of like, you know, I just want to complete it. That was my mindset. But now that I'm like noticing improvements in my speed, I'm starting to think like, you know, maybe I could place in the top few people to complete that exact half marathon. So we'll see. So I want to show you guys what my current leg day is looking like right now. I don't necessarily always do the exact same leg workout every week or the same exercises. I switch it up. But for the most part, these are the movements that I kind of go to on a regular basis. There's a few movements that I like to do every single leg day because they make me feel good, and I feel like they're very important. And yeah, so let's get into my leg day. So my warm-up is essentially a quick mobility session. I could take a separate time of the week to do a full-on mobility session, but to save on time, because I'm already lifting and running, I like to warm up with just better movements. So I really focus on my knees and my hips, of course, and working on movements that are going to improve my lifts and improve my running as well. So we're doing some light impact jump lunges, and then some single leg drops with an elevated platform, and then some hip openers with a little bit of a handle for assistance on balance. So that's what I'm starting with my workout with. 2 rounds of basically, I didn't really count my reps, but I'm doing like 15 to 20 reps really of each movement. So I've been talking about this movement for a while on my channel, and it's been brought up in some other videos, but I've been starting my leg day off with some front squats for the last 6 weeks, or at least even before I started my prep for the half marathon. I started doing more front squats. Now, it's something I usually don't do, but I love the core aspect, the core benefits that you get from it, and it really improves your overall form with squats in general, because you have to keep your chest upright. You have to keep that spine as straight as possible. and there's no rounding, because the more that you round, the bar is just going to end up dumping onto the rack, and you don't want that to happen. So I love how I don't need as much weight, or I really can't do as much weight as I can on a back squat. So front squats are there for the posture benefits, the core benefits, and it's a lot easier on my knees. So I love that. Next, we have a hip thrust. Now, I like to use the machine for this. We have a couple different machines here at the gym. This one was just sort of near me at the time. I don't always use this one. I'm not really too picky. It's really just about the motion and just firing those glutes. Now, I have a rule of thumb for myself, so that way I'm not doing too many compounds in one given leg day, so my nervous system isn't shot. I like to do either a hip thrust, and if I don't do a hip thrust, then I'll do some kind of deadlift, usually an RDL or a stiff leg deadlift or a single leg deadlift sometimes on the landmine, but typically I choose one or the other. But oftentimes, sometimes my lower back can be sore from other movements throughout the week, and sometimes that can affect my running as well. Hip thrusts don't affect my running as much as deadlifts, and I also don't get as carried away with the weight, so that is why I like to do a nice hip thrust in my leg routine. Plus, I've got a small booty. Now, no leg day is also complete without a form of a lunge. Now, this is a Bulgarian split squat, right? Very well-known exercise. I personally like to use a single weight. Now, I normally use a dumbbell, but I decided to use the kettlebell, and on my first set, I realized I was hitting the floor and I wasn't getting as much depth as I wanted, so I added a platform, and that helped immediately. But I think any runner should be doing some form of loaded lunge, so that way you can experience what it's like to have more of a load on a single leg, with the back leg sort of just supporting, because obviously when you're running, you are putting pressure from one foot to the other, so it's sort of like practicing to an extreme version of what you're doing when you're running. Last but not least, we have a hamstring isolation movement. We got to keep those hamstrings strong for our running, so I chose a seated hamstring curl, simply because this is going to give you the largest range of motion on your hamstrings. Anytime that your hips are hinged, you're flexed at the hips, you're going to get a full range compared to completely standing up and doing a hamstring curl, or even the lying hamstring curl machine. So this one's just a little bit more superior, and I like to do both lower rep sets, and when I say low, I'm really meaning like 10 to 12 for this machine, and of course then higher rep sets of like 15 to 20. So I didn't do any calves with this workout, just simply because I like to kind of just do calves when it's convenient. Recovery is very important, and obviously scheduling your calf training in at a certain time and expecting the recovery to always be the same. It's one thing to have sore quads while you're running. It's another thing to also have sore calves. I find that that's even worse. So I just like to do calves after a run, or just whenever it's convenient, whenever I feel like I'm able to actually do my calves and not have any hard runs the following day.